welcome to another one of Life Schools reviews. This time we'll be checking out Burnout Paradise, released on the Xbox 360, the PS3 and the PC in 2008 and released by Electronic Arts. At the start of the game we won't get too many cars to choose from. In fact, I think the only one that we can choose is a very basic one, but I've been playing this a little bit, so let's just select the GT for this and let's take a tour of this game. And the tour begins with all the statistics that the game holds for us, and if you like to beat statistics, then this is one of the games for you, because it will hold a record of everything you do, major and minor, in the game. You can see chain boosts and total takedowns, and all of these will be rewarded, and you'll get extra cars and bonus features depending on the number of bonuses that you've managed to rack up in the game. On the left you can see we've managed to find 8 out of the 11 auto repair shops, and that's not very good because we'll need to find all of them and all the garages that are dotted around this map. And to begin with, we are in the centre of a huge city, and it's our job to navigate around that city and try to memorise the way to go. And memorising the way to go is the key to this game, and if you do, then you can make all the checkpoints in the races later on, and if not, you'll be driving around blind and you won't be able to push yourself to that limit. By pressing the start, we can check out this game map on the PC version that we're playing at the moment, and you can see that now that we're playing it a little while, it shows dots on the map which show the events that we can join. Join in any of those events, we just pull up at some traffic lights and do a burnout, and then we'll get the welcome message and we can join that event.
Drive southeast to the Wildcats baseball stadium. The clock is ticking.
Many types of events, and in the first type of event it's a simple race to the exit, which is, well, virtually 2 minutes down that road. The only thing stopping us from getting there is our own stupidity and of course that time limit. And as long as you get there within the time limit, then that's fine, but if you make too many crashes, then you'll eventually write this car off. Bottom left corner of the display you can see the boost that we're using up, and that will be very important later on. And in this particular car, all we have to do is to hold down the button to instigate the boost, and then we'll be given one for free if we manage to use up all of the boost in one go. That means that we can perform chain boosts in this game. By pressing the select button on my controller on this particular configuration, I can select the map and we can see where we are going. You can see the red barrier is the finish line, and all we have to do is to get there, and all we have to do is to not make any mistakes. You can see there is a radar in the bottom corner, and sometimes driving around trying to find the road is hard enough if you don't know the map. And memorising the map is 9 points of law, and the rest of it is speed. As we progress through the game, we'll be given a number of licenses. I think we begin with the C license and then the B license.
You beat the burning route and have scored another ride. Swing by the junkyard to try out the Montgomery Sabotage GT 2400.
And we might also be given another car and a brand new ride, and that's always fun to check out because we're driving the GT car at the moment. It's given us an upgrade to the GT car experience. And let's just check out the other modes before we venture into the game itself. You can see that we can configure everything about the game, and we are going to switch off the music, unfortunately, in case we get a YouTube strike. And, well, you can choose from lots of authentic Alice in Chains, you can see, authentic original music soundtracks in the game. But we won't be doing that on this particular review. It's great that they are in there, as well as an extended, I think, Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. I'm not quite sure, but there's the quit button if you want to quit the game, and you can also quit back to the main menu at any point. And driving around, it is great to check out this great scenery. This is on a PC, and the graphics can definitely give away that this is a PC game of that era. And you know there has been a remake of this, a HD remake, released in 2018. And I haven't played that game, but I'm not sure I really want to try it because I have fond memories of this one, and I'm not sure I want to play GTA Burnout. I prefer the original Burnout. And this is one. This is actually one of a huge series of games developed by Criterion Software. This is actually the 6th game of the 8 Burnout games that have been released so far. Home bases are the junkyards, and from here we can respawn, but more importantly we can also change our ride. And you can see that the ride that we have at the moment is pretty much a wreck, but you'll have to fix up those cars once you've got them in a repair shop, and that is very cheap, and money in this game really isn't a problem. You can see we can drive Burnout bikes and Burnout cars as well, and you'll have to upgrade the bikes again just like the cars. And you can see that I haven't really played Burnout bikes, so I only have 2 bikes available, but in the cars you can see that I have built up quite a range. Each car has its own handling characteristics. Some will be heavier than others, some will be more robust, some will be quicker, and the GT car is a pretty nimble and quick car that I like to drive around. It's certainly not the best in the game though, by any stretch. So for this next experiment, let's choose the Hotspur, and yes, we can even change the colour of the car to any one of maybe 16 colours that you can change the car to in the game. And for this one, let's just select the blue colour, and let's just have a blue Hotspur. And yes, we can also use the mouse and toggle through all those combinations.
Race south to the Wildcats baseball stadium.
Early races are very, very easy, and it won't take too long if you use that boost to get yourself into first position. But this game has a quirk in the fact that you can take down your opponents by ramming into them and ramming them off the road, which is the very easiest way to get in first position.
Race west to Lone Stallion Ranch.
Part of the fun of the open world environment is you can actually select any one of those races at any given point, as long as you haven't completed it before, and you can race it until you've completed it, and then it will be marked off that map. And in these early races it's a short distance to that finish line, and as long as we keep our head, it doesn't matter really if we use the boost or not. But it's always great to know that if you make a mistake, that boost is there, which allows us to catch up, and it sometimes means that we can even complete a race even from last position. Yes, showing off in this game is allowed, and it's fun, and it's something that you have to do really to experience the wild ride that this game provides.
Keep your eyes open for the Jensen P12 driving around Paradise City. If you see it, shut it down to add it to your car collection.
The most exciting and the most interesting and the most fun car in the entire game is the Jensen P12, the one that we've just unlocked.
Link those stunts, beat that score target. Time for a stunt run.
But before we find that car, let's try a stunt run. Stunt event, what we have to do is to drive like a maniac, of course, like all events, but this time we'll have to do it taking down a number of objects on the way, and if we collide with those objects, then we'll get some bonuses. If we make huge leaps into the air, we'll get bonuses. If we get huge speed, we'll get bonuses as well, and if we take a nosedive into the river, we won't get anything except for a time penalty of us being reset back on that track. And you can see that we have just a minute left to try and get as many bonuses as possible. Most of the major points can be achieved by performing stunts, finding ramps and going off-road, and on-road at the moment means that we don't get too many points. We'll get some score for doing a 360 and for doing boosts, but you can see that I missed the yellow signs which show an off-road section or a back alley, and it's those signs which give us some easy cash. Gained 4,000 credits or points for that roll, but unfortunately we only gained 7 overall, and that means that we lost the event. And because I've run stunt events before, the target has escalated all the way up to 42,000, which is a ridiculously high value for a stunt run, and we only gained 7 on that particular try. Street of the game has its own time attack mode, and so you can see me racing against myself, and you can see the highest scores. If you are online, then those will be real players. But I failed to get to the end of the street in 13 seconds, so I'm choosing instead to perform another run. This is another race, and so we'll have to defeat up to 8 other players. I think at this early stage it only gives us 6, which means it's very fun. Maybe later on it gets up to 15 players, I'm not quite sure, but there are lots of computer-controlled AI players determined to ram us off the road, so all we can do is to follow that route and to run them off the road before they get a chance to do that to us. So checking out the route is all important, particularly if you make a mistake, and sometimes it's best to abort if you take the wrong route altogether. Bottom right corner you can see our mini-map that shows the exit and also our competitors who are racing on the street below, and they will have to rise up at some point towards that exit, which we are rapidly approaching, and it's very fun to do that with full boost.
Ready for some takedown action? Let's road rage.
Burnout Paradise is all about burnouts and takedowns are when you knock out a competitor, and you might knock them off a bridge, knock them off a road, but usually if you crash into the side of them, or T-bone them, or even ram them hard in the back, sometimes they will fly off the track and collide with something. That's a write-off. That will give us 1 takedown. Takedown events, all you have to do is to aim for all those other racers, which are pretty obvious who they are because they're in flashy sports cars, and so ramming into those with full boost is helpful. And the opponents sometimes will chase after us, and sometimes they will respawn behind or ahead of us. So sometimes you can get those guys to respawn simply by turning around on the spot, and you don't have to go too far away. But sometimes in these takedown missions you will follow the traffic, and that will take you miles out of town, and that means you will have to drive all the way back again to go for some events. So that's why I'm careering around in a circle at the moment, because this is early on in the game. We only have to take down 10 cars, which is pretty easy. But in this GT car it's pretty fragile, so you may notice I'm going for the repair shops, and that will repair our damage. Take too many hits, it will appear damage critical on the screen, and it's pretty critical that we repair our vehicle when that happens, otherwise the next hit will write us off and that will end the event. And if we don't complete the event, then that will not produce a tick on the map, and you have to get through those events if you want to qualify and get a new license and go up in speed. And you can see that we are taking on those guys. It's best if we get on a roll and take on a few, and sometimes we can get chain burnouts and chain takedowns going on so that we can really lay into those guys. And 4 in a row means that we've now reached our target, and that's now target achieved. We can now stop wherever we are on the track and leave it to stop on its own. That will eventually automatically complete the event, no matter how much time that we have remaining. And now that we win that event, it's time to get back to finding that quick car. And if you remember, the quick car is the P12 that we were rewarded with earlier on, but that thing is still driving around the city somewhere. We haven't seen it yet, and there can be any number of free cars driving around. All we have to do to claim that car is to take it down, and that will be added to the scrapyard. That's where we're basically going at the moment in the junkyard in this game. We'll select the cars, of course, and for this one let's select another custom car. And in this game it has a number of really amazing custom cars, and for this one I'm going to select this one, which looks a bit like the Spider-Man car because it's got a web all over it, and you can of course make that a custom colour. We can just choose those custom colours to amazing different colours, but let's just choose this one for now. Check it out.
Race southwest to Lone Stallion Ranch.
Really ticking off those races now, and it won't be long before we get the new license, so we can do an easy race to begin with, and of course take down a number of other drivers along the way. You can see by the end of that race we have managed to do it, and you can see that time has been beaten again on that road section, racing against ourselves. And there are a surprising number of things to do in this game, of which some of those we'll go through a bit later on, but you can see for now we've managed to find the P12.
The Janssen P12 has been delivered to your junkyard.
Some of the cars in the game look like real cars, and of course the Janssen P12 looks like a Lamborghini, but unlike a Lamborghini it actually sticks to the road on rails, a bit like a Lotus Esprit, and it's that grip level which is amazing. It also has the turning ability of the Lotus Elise, and so this thing really is the ultimate ride. It's not the fastest, but it certainly is one of the most controllable cars in the game. You can see speed is only 4 points high, and that isn't the fastest speed in the game, but at this stage unlocking this car means that we can do the next few events in style, and before we even get started we'll have to repair it. Unfortunately, there's no automatic radar, automatic locking, automatic navigation or anything like that. Basically, I'll have to drive to every single location in the game, and that means that we can take on submissions on our way around, and that can have its advantages and disadvantages. And, well, sometimes it can get very boring driving back to start a mission.
Drive northwest to the wind farm. The clock is ticking.
Another one of the many types of events that we can enter is a special event that only the car of a certain type can enter, and because this is the P12 we've entered the P12 only event, and this means that we'll have to get to a certain checkpoint again in a certain time limit. This P12, you can see it has a green boost bar. That means that we'll gain extra boost if we perform stunts. So it's helpful performing stunts with this thing because it will give us some extra boost. and you can see passing cars nearby will also give us a little bit, but it's sometimes best to veer off and do some high dives over on this bridge, and that will give us some boost for free. But in the meantime, it's best to stick to that road, and if you can, avoid cars very narrowly. That will only help us as we try to get through to that checkpoint. The rest of the time we can then zone out on the road. Time limits in this game are rather generous, but still, if you make too many crashes you won't make it, and in these special events it's best if you hammer that foot down and keep it there throughout the entire thing, and that means that we stand the best chance. You can see I'm trying to accumulate boost, and then I can boost my way out of those corners, and that gives us some extra grip and some extra turning ability when we really need it.
You are now a Class A driver, but to be recognized as a real Burnout driver, you need to show total domination of the roads of paradise. Are you good enough to win the Burnout driver's license? You ruled the P12 burning route, so you win the custom P12 track package. It's all ready for you over at the junkyard. Celebrate upgrading your license with a new car. The Rossellini Tempesta has been delivered to your junkyard.
Burnout Paradise is a lot of fun in many ways, and being awarded those cars is also great fun. And you can see that we can navigate around our map and find our junkyard, which we need to get to in order to get those cars. And of course, on our way there we can perform another stunt run, which will give us some more points. And here we are, this is another junkyard, and these cutscenes perhaps can get a little bit boring. I'm not sure whether you can skip those either, and I find that the crashing of the car to the ground is rather loud in the audio mix. Apart from that, I think it's a very nice effect of pulling a scrap car out of a junkyard and tuning that up and getting that ready for a race, and having won that race, it's pretty amazing. We've also managed to get the Tempesta, and that's pretty much like a Ferrari, only of course they couldn't use the Ferrari name in this game. Tempesta is also a great car, and it also has some great road handling, but obviously not as good as the previous car. It's more like a Veyron or something like that. It's a big heavy car and it can go quick, and it has a red boost bar that you can see there. That means if we go quick we'll gain more boost, and you can always gain boost by narrowly avoiding things, but in this particular case, if we drive fast and go quickly around corners, it will also give us some major boost. So let's not waste any time, let's join in the event and let's check that out.
Race east to the Coast Guard HQ.
The fun of this game is that it always gives the player the chance to win, even if they are at the very back or even if they are making lots of mistakes, and that means that you can afford a few crashes, and the back markers won't automatically pass us like we're standing still, like Burnout 1, which only allowed us one crash and then we would have been overtaken. In this game you can have some amazing rides. Even though we are in first position, we're still racing, and you can see the opponents behind us are still on that map, ganging up behind us, and these crashes mean that it's not a complete write-off. Sometimes we can even pause the action whilst we check out that map and spend all day trying to find out the best route. And in this case it's a straight line, so I'm waiting for that boost to appear again and then take that route all the way down that coast road. On the way you'll find repair garages that can repair all our damage for us for free, and you can also find engine boost garages, which that was one of them, which gives us a free top-up of boost so that we can use that all the way up. And I tried to get into that, but unfortunately it's on the wrong angle, as are these corners. But despite piling up on a number of occasions, we still make it over that line, and that gives us yet another first position. And now that we have the A license, we'll need the Masterclass license, and that's in 39 wins.
Watch out for the Carson Inferno van as you're free burning around Paradise City. If you see it, shut it down to add it to your car collection.
Yes, there are vans and trucks and all kinds of things in this game that you can drive, and the vans and the trucks are very robust indeed. It says I need a cavalry to do this particular burning route, which we have not got, or at least we're not driving at the moment, so it's best to check out that junkyard and see what we have available so that we can do those burning routes. And you can see that this particular mission needs 14 takedowns because we've completed the one that required 10, now that we need 14. And it's pretty difficult, but again that time limit does give us some leeway if we get into some kind of trouble. In this particular case, I've gone down the wrong route, and that's taken us down a railway tunnel, and that means that we are unable to take down those remaining cars, and that means that we've written off our chances.
Yeah, the end of a road rage isn't always pretty, but you gotta think of them as battle scars, a mark of honor. So take your old pal Atomica's advice and get back into the fight.
See from the radar, that particular takedown event has taken us miles out into the country, and at the moment we're travelling under a railway, and so part of this game is trying to have fun, and so let's boost our way towards our next destination. If we are in the middle of nowhere, there's a surprising lot to do out here, and even if we are in a truck, it's still possible to enjoy the game. And this is a marked man event. That means that these guys are trying to knock me off the road, and if they do that 4 or 5 times and wipe me out, that means that that's the challenge over. So having them trying to knock me off the road, I'm now trying to knock them off the road, and in a truck it's slightly easier. Fortunately or unfortunately, I seem to have veered off onto the exact same railway line as I managed to hit the time before. The good news is that in a marked man event, the other competitors won't be able to take us down because we are driving off-road. And any off-road or cut-through sections they will not be able to follow. Very long marked man event like this, it's very helpful if you can find those little tips, and then that saves us getting damaged on this very long route. Taking a very sturdy vehicle also helps, because if you take a sports car it will only take a few hits, and if you take a massive van it will take a few more. But as you can see, I'm still taking damage in this game, even trying to take it easy, travelling the wrong way along the railway line. And so we'll have to find our way off this railway line eventually, and you can see some of the competitors are actually trying to find us and trying to knock us down. So just a little bit down this way is actually a fork off that we'll need to get back onto this road, and so it looks like here it is. We'll have to do a 3-point turn, and as soon as we hit that road again we'll find the other competitors waiting for us, waiting to take us down, and the mayhem starts all over again. With the more sturdy car, it's not really possible to stand undefeated if you get beaten up. Sometimes if you don't use the turbo, then that means that the competitors will take it easy on us. But in this particular case, even though you can see the end is only just around the next 2 corners, we got written off anyway, and that means we lost that event. But it's hard to stay angry at the game for too long, because we can also take these off-road sections and make our own way and make our own fun, not even completing the original events. So even if we are driving around recklessly like an idiot like this, some fun can still be had in the game, and it's those fast cars and those high speeds which bring me back, and it's those one-on-one victories as well, which are pretty darn difficult but still very rewarding when you're racing one-on-one. In this particular case we've upgraded to needing 15 takedowns, so I'm using this thing which looks like a monster truck. At least it's pretty robust and it's rugged, and the game isn't stupid. If we decide to travel in a rugged car, it will give us those vans and flatbed trucks just so that we can race against them, and so it's a very fair match. Now if we need 15, it's going to be impossible unless we get on a roll with those, and getting on a roll and getting all those mayhem multipliers is what you need in the game, and then that cuts down the chances of us failing that mission. And it's so easy to get wrecked sometimes. Another tip of this game is to slow down when you are trying to take on the opponents and they will overtake us, and then you can just ram them from the back or the side like this, and that gives us an easy takedown. And sometimes if you are on the most difficult cars, or fragile cars, it's best to go for the easy takedowns, and there is definitely a difference between the easy ones and the hard ones in this game. And so you can see all the fun of the fair as we go on and off the off-road ramp and back and forth off the motorway. And you can see that that some of those takedowns are pretty colourful, and you can get some pile-ups going on, although you don't get any pile-up scenarios like you did in some of the other takedown games. You can see we've already reached the 10 barrier, so all we need is another 5 cars, and then we have this takedown in the bag. Those time limits are lightly generous, then it does give us some opportunity to come back even if we fail until the very end of the game, where it gives us 25 takedowns to produce, and as we've seen with the stunt run, sometimes those quotas are a little too high for the average player, and you can see damage critical at this point. So what I'm actually doing is trying to limp back to a service station, and because it gives us that time, hopefully we can limp all the way back there, get ourselves repaired, and then we'll be back in the fight, and then we can lay into those guys again and try to go for the takedown record. I'm not quite sure how many takedowns I've managed to achieve in one go, but in this particular run we're going to aim for 24, which I think is my all-time record. First of all, we'll need to get this thing repaired, and easy does it as we follow the map all the way to the service station. It's also great that it gives us so many things to do in this city, and you can see that signs that we managed to smash down remain smashed even after we've smashed them, and that gives away the fact that we need to do them all, and then we'll receive a special bonus for doing that. And I'm not quite sure if it gives us a special bonus if we go over certain courses of takedowns or things like that. But you can see that we have now qualified, we have now beaten this stage, and so all that we need to do now is to mop up the last few seconds, of which we have a minute to go, and then we can basically cruise around and mop up the last survivors. But of course, crashing into a wall does not help at the best of times, and so sometimes staying clean is very helpful in this game. With 1 second to spare, we beat our 24 record. We have 25 takedowns. That was definitely a new record for me when I scored it as I was recording this footage playing this game. You can see we've got 2 wins to upgrade to the next license, and it can take many weeks to get there if you're playing this casually, or it will take at least a couple of weeks to do that if you're a full-on serious player. In the meantime, you can have fun just messing around with this game, and there are no rules to follow. You don't have to complete any of these challenges. All you have to do is to drive this car. think there are 4 or 5 different types of car mission, including the stunt mission, the takedown missions, the races, and the special events. And I think there is another one as well that I'm not quite sure, but there are tons to be going on with. And of course the one where they try to ram you off the road, that's another event. At the moment I'm trying to ram myself off the road because I'm starting another event, and the easiest way to do that is to ram into another car at high speed, and that's precisely what we're going to do right now. What that will do is write off the car so that we have a brand new fresh car in order to start this race.
Race west to the wind farm.
Burnout Paradise is my second favourite Burnout game of all time, behind Burnout 1. There's something about Burnout 1 which is just amazing, and it really grips my attention. Burnout 2 is too short, Burnout 3 is really good, and it's probably my third favourite. 4 and 5 were okay, but this is the 6th version, and out of the 8, and I'm presuming that the latest one is the 8th version, well, this one gives us the speed, it gives us some good graphics, it gives us some great sound effects, all the music in the world, all the licensed tracks, and of course some great racing experiences as well. If you are at the back, then you can actually qualify and get to the front, even if you make a right mess of it, and even if you're going completely the wrong way, which I am at the moment, which means unfortunately I'm having to turn around. Check out that map and you can see that the first place driver is right there, which means I'm going to have to turn around and try to get back on the right road. You can see we're making lots of absolutely terrible mistakes, and we messed up the start as well, but we're in second position, and it's very easy to lose your way and make a mistake if you don't know the map, and that could write off your chances of winning. At the moment, all we have to do is to keep the pedal to the metal, and it's this massive speed which is very helpful. What is not helpful is missing that junction, which we seem to have done, so that means we're unfortunately going to have to go to the next one. If you manage to get to the last available junction, an indicator will appear on the side of the car, as well as a helpful sound effect. There are the rivals, affectionately known as burners in this game, and I really do love the DJ, which is of course carried over from Burnout 3, and I really do like the DJ and all the environment statistics that we have in the game. I think it rains and things like that. In the meantime, you can see that we've made another complete hash of that turn, which means that we're way at the back, and it would seem at this point impossible to catch those leaders. If this was any other game, that would be true, but this is Burnout, so you can't count anything or take anything for granted.
Keep your eyes open for the Hunter Racing Oval Champ driving around the streets. If you see it, shut it down to add it to your car collection.
If your heartbeat was racing at the end of that particular section as we raced on through to the line, only just in first position, then that gives you some idea of what most of the races are like in this game. It's high-speed action, it's one-on-one thrills against, well, 6 other drivers, or 8, or maybe even 10 later on, and it's high speed at the most safe, because you turn these cars, they won't realistically spin, they'll simply stick to the road and turn, and that means that we can build up some confidence and we can get to figure out how to drive the cars, and if we make a terrible mistake it will give us a replay of the action and it's not a complete write-off. but you can see our car is a bit of a write-off at the moment, and that means it's virtually undrivable, and that means taking this particular stunt run is not very easy, but it is possible.
Survive the drive southwest to the Lone Stallion Ranch.
Final race in this license, I'm choosing a very short route in this very sturdy, quick car, and the best thing about this particular route is if you make some mistakes and you crash, at least you can pull into at least 2 service stations along the way, and that repairs all our damage for free. There's also some easy free cut-through sections in which the cars cannot follow us, and so cutting through those is essential, and so this is probably one of the easiest races in the entire game, and though this marked man is very difficult in most circumstances, this one isn't too bad. It's still possible though to go down those dead ends and to make those same mistakes as we made before. Burnout Paradise commands the respect from me at the highest level. It's high-speed action, it's not too serious that it takes itself too seriously, and it's fun in all the right places. You can see the doors fly open when we slam on the brakes trying to get into this particular auto repair, and that's yet another quirk in the game, as is jumping around and having some great fun with it. It's not quite Fallout, but it's on the right lines, and it's certainly a fast game, and that fast and that speed and those abilities to ram the cars off and perform some high stunts is what makes this game extra special, and it's fast enough to hold the attention of most high-speed racers.
Congratulations! You earned your Burnout driver's license and won a new car. But the ride isn't over yet. Complete all events in Paradise City to earn the Burnout Elite driver's license.
And as I talk over this music, hopefully so that this video doesn't get banned for life, I'll just say again, I have mega respect for this game. Playing through it in all the worlds was fun, and it means that we can spend 10 minutes just driving around and not spending too much time on it, and you can always save it up at any point and go for another win or another license at any point. So there is a lot to do in this game. You certainly get your money's worth from it, and anybody who hasn't checked this out, maybe check out the new HD remake. And the new HD remake is on PS4 and for the PC and for the new Xbox as well, I think. And so thank you for watching another review. I definitely give this 9.5 out of 10.